scientific and technological innovations were made in the 1930s. I'm your host, Jency Coonrod, and I'm joined by reporters Ashcraft and Rahman, who are currently in the field. To reporter Ashcraft for more information on advancements in computer technology and transportation in the 1930s, as well as some of the most important inventions of the 1930s.
Thank you, Jency. As everyone knows, many great inventions were created in the 1930s, such as the differential analyzer and the Z1. The differential analyzer was what many believe to be one of the first supercomputers. It was invented in MIT in 1931 and used a wheel and disk mechanic to solve advanced equations. The Z1 was invented in 1936, but it was completed in 1938 by Conrad Zuse. It was the first modern computer that was programmable. You would feed in 35mm tape or punch tape to program it, and it held 1400 bits of data. For comparison, 64-bit computers can hold 128 billion bits. Now, to transportation inventions. The jet engine, which was invented in 1930 by Van Ohain of Germany. However, the credit often goes to Frank Whittle, who patented it. The jet engine is a very special type of engine that sucks in air to power it. The jet engine had to wait 11 years before it was actually tested in an airplane. And now from air inventions to ground inventions. The Volkswagen Beetle was invented in 1938 and had the longest mass production for any vehicle in history. It was invented by Ferdinand Porsche, but Adolf Hitler pushed it into production because he wanted to get more German people on the road for the price of a motorcycle. Now, the most exciting inventions of them all, the greatest inventions in the 1930s. The first one I did was the ballpoint pen, which was invented in 1938, and it was a pen designed to write on leather and paper, but without tearing the paper. So this was very difficult for scientists to create, because the different combinations of ink that they used, it would either get clogged in the pen, or the pen would break, or the paper would break. But a Hungarian newspaper editor named Laszlo Burrow finally figured out the correct mixture of substances to create the pen and the ink that was able to write on leather, write on paper without actually ripping it, and the pen would also be very durable and wouldn't clog. The last invention is nylon. Nylon is a synthetic material made in 1937. Today, lots of things are made of nylon, like seatbelts, parachutes, and clothing. Nylon was the world's first commercially produced synthetic fiber. Its main use was to replace silk and pantyhose because it was more stretchy and durable. Shortly after nylon hit the market with different materials, there were riots because the nylon was short and there were massive nylon shortages. This material paved the way forward for other synthetics like Kevlar. Now back to Jency for the Golden Gate Bridge.
Thank you for that information, Ethan. Additionally, there was major architectural, psychoanalytical, and scientific advancements in the 1930s. A major architectural achievement that occurred during the 1930s was the construction of the Golden Gate Bridge. The Golden Gate Bridge was a 4,200-foot-long suspension bridge that stretched across the San Francisco Bay. At the time it was built, it was the longest suspension bridge in the world. It was built to survive an earthquake and winds of 100 miles per hour. Construction of the bridge finished in 1937. To add on, several major psychoanalytical advancements occurred in the 1930s. Sigmund Freud lived from 1856 to 1939. He made major advancements in the field of psychoanalysis. He found out about repression and resistance. Repression is when a painful memory becomes inaccessible to the unconscious mind. Resistance is an unconscious defense against repressed experiences in order to not revisit them. He also established the theory of transference, where a child's attachments to their parents is transferred to others later in life. Overall, he determined the existence and abilities of the unconscious mind, which allowed him to develop therapies for neurosis and psychosis that are still used today. Also, Austrian physicist Erwin Schrödinger lived from 1887 to 1961. He invented wave mechanics in 1926 and won the Nobel Prize in Physics for it in 1933. In 1935, he published a paper criticizing probabilistic laws of quantum mechanics. Previously, a radioactive atom emitting an electron was up to probability. He said, "No, you don't know if it is decayed until it is observed." To explain this, he created a hypothetical scenario called Schrödinger's cat, involving a cat that is trapped in a box with a bomb. It laid the foundation for quantum mechanics and something being in two states at once. Now, to Gavin for details on military advancements.
Several military advancements were made in the 1930s. Many of these advancements were small and simple, but made a huge impact. For example, the radar was used by planes to locate other planes. Additionally, another innovation for planes was retractable flaps, which was added to the rear of plane wings. This improved takeoff performance for pilots. Additionally, the most revolutionary invention for planes was the plane called the experimental bomber. So due to aerodynamic improvements, the largest flying airplane, which was built in 1935 by a man with the last name of Boeing. Lastly, another piece of technology added to planes was the gyroscopic heading indicators. This replaced many magnetic companies in the 30s as they were more reliable. As the instrument in the aircraft revolve around the vertical axis of the gyro, the compass car navigational system provides clear and accurate heading information. So Scotch tape, invented by Richard Drew in 1930, was the first waterproof, clear adhesive tape. It was very convenient as it was introduced during the Great Depression. This filled the need of Americans in order to increase the life or repair items that they could not afford to be replaced. Now on to astronomy. So the radio telescope was invented for revolutionary astronomical discoveries. Now back to Jency in the studio for closing.
Thank you, Gavin, for that important information. Please stay with us during our commercial break. Up next, capybara poaching, profitable or pointless?